Cassie is live. Can you all hear me out there? As the title suggests, I am way off script today. No real agenda. Just thought I would check in here. It's really quite the hazy field in front of me. I don't know if you can see that, but looks like clouds rolling in. Sun, haze, and clouds. How's everybody doing? So I just uploaded a video on the channel here, about 12 some minutes long, which is kind of the up-to-date medical report, if you want to call it that. Really just kind of the update on where I'm at with treatment stuff next week, chemo, and just waiting to see how things pan out, praying for some miracles and things to change, hoping that I don't have to do a full 20 days total of chemo, which is what the current schedule is. But yeah, it's just one day at a time. Talk about things we weren't planning to do in 2025. That is one of them. And so it's been a crazy kickoff to the year, unexpected in many ways. And this doggy has not had her normal exercise routine. I've had help from my son and father-in-law, giving her some extra walks, and then I let her out whenever I can. Lots of times we're just kind of hanging out in the yard. I get her out as much as I can, but she definitely misses me and the bike on our extended travels down. You can't see one of the trails down there. Over yonder is one of the trails that we would go down, way down there into the clouds, the fog, and there's train tracks down there past where you can't see anymore. But obviously we haven't been doing too much of that since I've been on crutches. And I'm just happy that I have Pedro Venancio helping me with a lot of the music tracks, because otherwise we wouldn't have nearly as many music videos coming out lately the last few months. And then, yeah, whenever I get a chance, I try to keep up doing more piano instrumentals. But hey, Jody, thank you. Appreciate the prayers. And so, yeah, at this point, I mean, there's not much going on for me this week other than just waiting for next week with the treatments to start, and kind of on cruise control at this point, just waiting. But also, it's not a normal time of waiting, so it's kind of weird, but some things are good because I've at least kind of settled into the situation that it is, and really just trusting God for the days and months ahead, and trusting it's all going to work out, and it's going to be something that I'll be able to, one more thing that I'll be able to give him thanks and praise for later. So it's really just dealing with the unknown factors right now. And oh, there we go. There is Dog in the Sun. And she's getting older. I think in dog years, she is 82, 83, something like that. Yeah, maybe 83. Her birthday is at the end of March. So, yeah. So if you're trusting in the dog years theory, 7 years per 1 year for us, then she's getting up there, but she's very healthy by any dog standards, along with German Shepherds. But of course, she has the back legs kind of starting to do funny things on her, and got to keep buying her the vitamins. But she's been doing really good, so I'm thankful for that. Stay healthy, Cassie. Oh, Jody, what kind of dogs you have? You have more than one? How many dogs do you have? Growing up, I had basically mixes of black labs. I think were they all mutts? I think they were all mixes. Some more than others, perhaps, but maybe the first dog we had when I was really young, maybe she was just a Labrador retriever. But they were all black and some sort of Labrador mix, at least. 4 dogs. Oh, you got lots of dogs. Are they inside, outside, or both? I tried for a short time to let Cassie be indoor and outdoor, but the hair on these dogs is just ridiculous. I was vacuuming like twice a day, and it was still driving me crazy. I can handle some dirt. It's not that I'm totally OCD, but the hair. Oh, couldn't stand the hair everywhere. And it'd be one thing if you could vacuum once a day and it would be fine, but no, it was like you would find hair under couches and chairs and weird places, and it's like I didn't even know she was in that room and there's hairs. It was just too much. So the garage and outdoor has been much better for her and me and all of us. Miniature Beagle Yorkie and Shaper Key. Wow, I don't know how to say that one, or I don't know if maybe I don't know what kind of dog that is. Is that how you spell it? I can't think of the name that's reminding me of right now. They're all your children's dogs that landed here. Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I've tried to have my dog kind of be more owned by my son, but it's just not quite happening. It seems like it's always me that tends to pick up the slack. So that's how it is with kids oftentimes, isn't it? Daughter of the King, welcome. Yeah, Labradors are really great dogs. Just good for family, hanging out. Easy to take care of, I would say, in general. Just, yeah, just really good dogs to have. Good for, well, I wouldn't say a guard dog, maybe good for some security without them being too, you don't have to worry about them really attacking anybody, obviously, compared to some other breeds. But they are still good for barking and letting you know if somebody strange is around. Hello, Glade. Oh, Lee. I'm doing good. How are you? So yeah, like I said, I did a 12 some minute video just a little bit ago, posted that on this channel, Telegram, Facebook, and just kind of did my medical update, treatment update for the week to let everybody know what's going on, since next week it's looking like I'm going to actually start chemo. Crazy times. And so I thought I'd do a little live with no agenda. Actually, I haven't done this for a while, actually, where I just kind of went on live stream and just kind of literally talked about whatever. But since I haven't been doing too many lives or doggy walks on bikes, I figured might as well. And then it's only about 1 p.m. here, Southern Cali time. But after this, I'm pretty much just going to go into relax and movie mode, because unfortunately, there's not really too much else I can do other than try to keep stretching my right leg, which is not very useful at the moment, and eating healthy, eating crazy healthy every single day, and taking all the good vitamins that I got, and just thankful that I'm able to afford some of the things that I got, because the stuff does add up. But there's just so many things I wanted to try too, especially before doing something like chemo, which, as you know, comes with side effects and lots of unknown 𝐠𝐸. Oh, sorry, Jody, I didn't get back to you. I'm gonna have to check that out. It sounds like a dog I've seen before. I probably just totally butchered the pronunciation, but I should look that up. I was actually a veterinary assistant. I started in high school, I think as a sophomore in high school, and did that all through high school as a part-time job, and then after high school for kind of like a year or two, and even transferred to a different clinic. And I loved that job. That was by far one of the best jobs any teenager could have. And I think lots of people in general, just being able to work with animals and work alongside vets, which are, they're doctors, they're animal doctors. So just really great and laid back, smart, fun people to work with, doing labs and holding down crazy dogs, and some excitement along the way. It was a really good job. I was really blessed to have that. And so anyway, I partly brought that up because I've always had dogs growing up, and in my family, I am famous in my family for teaching the dogs tricks, and I mean, really a lot of basic stuff like jumping over things, laying down, heeling, shaking, really all the kind of basic things. But I started doing it when I was young, so it was fun for them and me. But I just loved being outside, roaming around in the country. My parents had about 18 acres total, with a lot of that being woods and trees and a pond and trails. And I would just spend hours and hours outside hanging out with the dog or dogs. Cats would be roaming around like usual. And yeah, just doing all that outdoorsy kind of stuff. And then when I got sick of that, I would go back inside and play music, work on music, which was usually the piano. That was my primary instrument. But then I would spend hours writing and making music. And those were kind of two of my favorite things to do growing up. Jody loves animals like me, and like seems like just about everybody here. And yes, that is my German Shepherd named Cassie. And like I was saying, she is 11 years old, and in about a month, she'll be turning 12. Is that right? Yeah, she's getting up there. But she's got to be the healthiest dog I've ever had, because she just hasn't really had any issues except for the last couple years, the back legs kind of giving her some issues, but nothing really that major that couldn't be assisted with some vitamins. What is it? Glucosamine, whatever those are. So yeah, she's just been a super healthy dog, and she hasn't been getting vaccinated or wormed or anything. She just eats good food. She's not around other animals, so obviously that helps as far as, I don't know, the fleas and worms and everything. I'm sure that has to play in a big impact. But yeah, she has totally skipped out on the vets. And I guess that's been a blessing to my wallet as well. It kind of started out that way because I just couldn't afford it. I was going through hard times 10 years ago when I first got her. I adopted her through a German Shepherd shelter, whatever it was called. And she was just maybe 16 months, 18 months old when I got her. But she did have some, or at least one, not so great owner before then. So it was a bit of a growing experience, and took her a while to trust me and trust being around people a little bit more. Those first several years were actually kind of rough and stressful for probably both of us, maybe more me than anything, because I really didn't want us to have any bad experiences, and I really wasn't sure if she was going to bite anybody, and she never has, but she's just really convincing. She will scare people, and she will make you think that she's going to bite, but she never has, and she's really not mean at all. So that makes her a really good guard dog, actually. That's the kind you want, I suppose. So let's see. Miss Constitutional Rights, hello, if I didn't say that already. Lee, you love piano. Awesome. And German Shepherds are your fave, I think you're talking about. So I'm just getting caught up on the comments, remembering what I was talking about. And you said your cats live long too, just one-time vaccinations. They live 17 to 20 years. Wow. That is a long, healthy life for a feline. I used to walk them growing up. Shepherds. Oh. Yeah, this dog has so much energy in her age of 11 plus, and no signs of her slowing down anytime soon. I guess the only way she's going to get fat is if I fed her a bunch of junk, because which I'm not going to. And so as long as I give her the normal healthy foods, she just has a normal appetite and she burns it off, loves running, loves walking. So I think she still has several good years ahead of her. But yeah, it is a hazy day, not too cold. Obviously, I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt. It's borderline cold, but not cold enough to put a coat on. So I'm enjoying it. So, like I said, no real agenda here. I think the only thing I was going to talk about, because I did put Bob in the title, is it's really kind of looking like we might have to wait months, maybe years still, to get more answers on the Bob Joyce Elvis mystery, which is kind of funny, kind of crazy. But I put that out there last year as a possibility. So like I told you guys, there was no for sure, no guarantees that we would get our answers right before or after the election. And I still think it's a good chance that he's the man, he's the Elvis. But it's really just kind of an entertainment side show sort of thing. And I still love his sermons, love his messages. And so we have no reason here to stop posting the great videos and little clips that we got for you guys, because he's still preaching good messages week after week. And it's pretty easy to find good stuff to share with you all. So you've been playing guitar 50 years? Wow, awesome. Guitar is another one of my favorite instruments. Piano is my number one favorite, and then I guess drum set would be number two. And then I'd probably say like guitar, ukulele next. Even though I wouldn't consider myself very fluent on either of them, just basic, playing basic chords, good for singing along and maybe doing worship music or writing songs. But I played alto saxophone mostly growing up, as far as middle school, high school goes, and that was great. I still have a tenor saxophone, but haven't picked that up much in several years. And that is, well, any horn, you can't just pick it back up. Your chops are just melted within minutes. So, but I mean, guitar is the same way. You gotta get those blisters thickened back up. The calluses, you gotta get them thickened back up. Otherwise, you can't play for very long. So that's one nice thing about the piano and drums, really. You can kind of jump right back into it and play for hours. You can still get sore and all that, but that is one of the extra challenges of string instruments and horns, is just building those chops back up. So of course it's way easier, any instrument, to just stick with it, even if it's just playing a few minutes a day. And that was one of the things I told all of my music students, and still do, no matter what age, no matter what level, is to at least play, I just say 5 minutes a day. Because if you can get that far, you're probably going to practice longer than that anyway. But just having that consistency and keeping your chops up goes a long ways for any instrument or any hobby, any skill that you're working on. So I'm sure, Jody, you can totally appreciate that. Lee says, my dad was 86 and looked young. Yeah, there's some young looking 90 and 100-year-old people out there, and 70s, 80s for sure. And it's not hard to find some if you're just looking. And I've seen different views of Pastor Bob. I've seen some where he looked really young, and I've seen others where, yeah, he looked like a guy who could be 90 years old. And that was one of the things last year when I was doing the most research on my own, and along with many of you, that we noticed how basically everybody that went to his church there and reported back to us on the channel or other channels, they said he looked older in person. And you could see how he looked more frail, and his skin was, I don't know, more wrinkly, thinner, whatever the case may be. And you also got to keep in mind that most of the videos that we're watching are either not the greatest quality, or he's, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 feet away from the camera. So it's not a very great perspective to even be able to tell how old somebody is, really, especially if they're a fairly good looking human being and take care of themselves and all that kind of stuff, or they just look good for their age. So, but yeah, that is one thing that pretty much everybody said is, yeah, he looks older in person. So many theories, or so many questions that we looked into on Pastor Bob and Elvis, and they just seem to keep passing the test. So that's why we've stuck with it this whole time. I haven't seen him in person. I was talking back in November about a possibility of going there, but then, of course, a lot has changed since then, and now I'm not going anywhere, hardly even leaving home lately, except for medical appointments and food and such. But I would love to go this year if things improve, kind of get back to normal, and maybe I have um, free time. A free weekend is all it would take. I would just do a Saturday, Sunday, probably, fly out Saturday morning, come back Sunday evening, and that would be great for me. Go to a service or a couple services, probably just one. But of course, I would try to interview him, or even do just a little thing, set something up ahead of time. And it would probably be really simple. The more I thought about that seriously, I probably wouldn't make it a big deal at all. I might just ask him, hey, can I ask you these couple questions, and tell him the questions ahead of time, of course, just to make it very simple and transparent, because I'm sure he gets people asking him that every month, if not every week. And yeah, so I would try to do that. I'd love to sit in on a few songs with his band too, but I don't know if that could happen. It's really kind of a time factor thing, and he doesn't know me, so probably, yeah, that probably wouldn't happen. But that would be fun. Perhaps if I got there early on Saturday and got to hang out enough, sit in on a jam session or something, and then maybe it could happen. But I'm still waiting for that day to go to the Household of Faith church and see Pastor Bob in person. Jody, you said you played professionally on the road, played with a lot of Elvis impersonators or tribute artists. Wow. Interesting. Yeah, one thing I always said a lot last year when I was doing the most research in the videos was that I think I'm a really good, unbiased kind of person, musician, experienced musician, to be sort of chiming in on all of this with Pastor Bob and Elvis, because I was never really a fan of Elvis. I appreciated him as a musician, thought he was a great singer, performer, all of that. But yeah, as far as being, like a crazy fan, that's maybe not a good way to put it, but as far as just loving Elvis and being all about the king and all that kind of stuff, that was not me. And so I really haven't been biased at all. And it wasn't actually until I started following Pastor Bob more and enjoying his albums and music, and then comparing them to Elvis, and then just the last couple of years learning more of Elvis's tunes and all the gospel stuff he did, that then I really started to appreciate Elvis music and his gospel music contribution. So yeah, so those are, and of course, because I've been a lifelong musician and I've studied basically all styles of music with the Marine Corps music program and played with thousands of musicians, dozens of different bands, and I've had a much more, what you might call, eclectic musical life experience than most musicians. And that's not to brag, it's just the truth. So when you kind of put all that together, like I said, it's not to brag. It's just sort of the facts that I stumbled into the whole Pastor Bob and Elvis research theories, and had the right combination of experiences and skills to sort of be a good judge, I think, of if it's a real possibility or not. Which, of course, I still think it is a good possibility. But I'm also not really that focused on it either. And I can easily wait more months or years if I need to, because I'm just not really that concerned about it. So, but I am interested. So with that all being said, it's nice to talk to some of you, seeing a few new names here. Nice to meet some of you, and thanks for hanging out with me. I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. Like I said, pretty much the rest of my day is just chilling now. So that's been kind of a new skill I've had to relearn the last couple months, because typically I love to work. I love to work on music, to write, record. I was doing that easy 12, 16 hours a day before all this medical stuff happened. And I was happy doing it. So that's kind of how I also stumbled into the YouTube world and just all social media, doing all that stuff, because I figured, well, if I'm going to be doing this every day anyway, I might as well start working on all the channels and everything. That was like 2014 when I first started. And look where I am now. So it's come a long ways, and it's really just, it's been the consistency of just sticking with it a lot more than anything. That is one of the toughest parts with all this social media and internet stuff, is to just keep it going. But I've been having a blast too. And of course, the music is to inspire, uplift all of you, bless you. I like using the biblical messages to kind of tie it all together. And I find the music is much more meaningful that way than when I was only doing the pop stuff, classic rock, which I love all kinds of music. I've even learned over the last 10 years to appreciate some rap more, which was one of my least favorites. But there's been some Christian rap artists, some of which were friends, that I really appreciated what they did. So I love all music, but that was one of the things for me personally over the last 10 years. I wanted to figure out how I could sort of leverage all my experience and the best lyrics, the best messages, inspiration, and sharing the gospel, putting it all into one basket. And so what you see now on my channels is pretty much the end product of that. But it never ends because there's always more music to write and more to work on. So, but as far as the concept goes, what you see now, if you peruse my playlists, some of the different styles and things I've been doing, that's probably what I'm going to pretty much keep on doing. So I love it. And I also like helping others along the way, helping other content creators, or I don't know, if somebody wants help one-on-one with something, I'm usually more than happy to do what I can within reason. So I think I will wrap it up there. Either my bro was, what did I miss? I missed something there. Oh, your bro was a huge Elvis supporter, maybe? Or a huge Elvis fan? Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up there, but thank you all again. I will keep you posted at least once per week. I'll do sort of my medical update because that will obviously have a lot to do with how soon I can get back to music and music videos and everything and other things. But I have some good friends helping me to keep the channels going with other music too, stuff that I could not do just by myself these last few months without them. So big shout out to Pedro Venancio, my good friend in Portugal, who's been doing a bulk of that, most of it. And so, yeah, we'll keep on rolling, and I'll keep on vlogging whenever I can to check in with you guys. So thank you all. Take care. God bless. I'll see you again soon.